That's very important. You hear now the word afikaiman, don't get confused. The word afikaiman in our vocabulary is the piece of matzah that we eat at the end of the meal at the night of the Seder. We call it afikaiman. We'll soon see why we call it afikaiman. But that's not what the Mishnah means here. The Mishnah actually is referring to afikaiman as a combination of two words, afiku, afikumon. Afikaiman is afikumon. So ein maftirin achra pesach afikaiman means you don't finish the meal. Maftirin is like ptira, when you're leaving. Al yipatir adam mechaveira, when you leave somebody. When somebody, even when you say somebody is chas v'shalom nifter, right? It means their life here on earth ends as they move on to the next chapter of life. So ein maftirin is like the end of something. It represents the end. Ein maftirin, you don't finish the meal. Achar ha-pesach, after you ate the carbon pesach. They ate the carbon pesach by the seder, the sheep, the lamb, or the goat. So after you finished eating the carbon pesach, you don't finish with something called afikaima. What that is, we're going to see in a moment. There's going to be an argument in Gemara. But you don't finish the meal. Ein maftirin, achar ha-pesach. You finish the Pesach, you finish the meal, what do we do now? You might think, let's do afikaiman. He says, no, don't do afikaiman. What is the meaning of this? The Mishnah is very, very cryptic. We know what maftirin means. Maftirin means to say goodbye, to leave, to separate. Al yipatir adam mechaveira. So niftarim would mean to say goodbye to the meal, to end the meal, to seize the meal. So we understand that we finish the meal here, and we want to say goodbye to the meal. We finish the carbon pesach. Do not do the afikaim. So the Gemara says, "My afikaiman. What is this? What is this? What is the word afikaiman? What do you mean that we shouldn't finish with afikaiman?" Amar Rav. Rav said, "Shelo yakru mechavura lechavura." It means that when you finish eating the carbon pesach, don't leave your group and go to another chabura, another group, to eat something with them. Do not do that. What does this mean? What is Rav teaching us? A Mishnah earlier in Pesachim teaches us the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda holds, not everybody agrees, but that's what the Mishnah paskins earlier in Pesachim, Pevov. Rabbi Yehuda holds that the meat of the carbon pesach is allowed to be split between two chavuras. We all know that the carbon pesach was a unique carbon. What was unique about it? You had to have subscribers, right? It's called minui. We say it every morning. Ha-pesach einay nechel ella lemenuyav. What's a manui? A manui is, lahavdil, if you'll see every newspaper, they'll ask for minuyim, right? They want you to subscribe. Yated Naaman, or any other newspaper. They want you to subscribe. What does a subscription mean? You belong to this newspaper. You pay whatever you pay. The carbon pesach had menuyim. I'm buying a sheep for my carbon pesach. I can't eat a whole sheep myself. I need to eat a kazayas. It's too much, right? So if you have Baruch Hashem, a big family, that's fine. They become the menuyim. If not, I can turn to my shir and say, do you want to subscribe to my carbon pesach? And we become a chabura, a group. The word chabura, like you say, a chabura, it comes from here. There's a chabura group from the word chibur, and we will eat the carbon pesach together. And when we eat the carbon pesach together, we have to remain together, and I can't go to another chabura and eat the carbon pesach with them. I have to stick to my subscription.
Why can we subscribe to worldly one?
There's all.
I'm saying, I subscribe to your carbon pesach because I want to be in the Kabbalah. I also have a Kabbalah with people.
Right, because the pasuk says.
What you're saying, there's only one.
There's
only one subscription.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Rabbi Yehuda holds that the meat of the Pesach itself can be split between two chaburas. The basar of the Pesach itself could be divided between two groups. But one person can't eat the Korban Pesach in two separate places. I have to choose my Chabura. That's where I eat my Korban Pesach. This is my group. I'm not allowed to leave. Pasuk says in Parshas Boy, when he says the halachas of the Korban Pesach, Bebayis echad ye'achel. You hear Rabbi Yaakov. To be eaten in one home. Lo yisoitzi min habayis min habasar chutza. I don't want you to take out from the meat outside of the bayis, take it outside.
Yeah, it can be eaten, but why can't I subscribe to more than one? Say I don't eat. Say I've given a job of it.
Oh, that's fine.
In other words, I can't have a failure.
That's fine. That's fine.
I have to be meyuchet to
Yeah. Rashi says, what's bebayis echad ye'achel? He says, bechabura achas. Shalayasu animnin alav shtei chavuras v'yechalku. Those who subscribe shouldn't make two chavuras, split. Ech ata oimer bechavura achas ein ela bebayis echad kamashmoyi. Talmud lemer alabatim. He says if they're eating outside, it doesn't mean they're not allowed to come in inside. If they're barbecuing, it was a barbecue. They're not allowed to come in inside because it's just one house. You have to stay. No, you're allowed to come in inside. Because it says al-habatim. Clearly it means that you can eat, you can come into outside. But it means lo'isoisim in habayis. I cannot take it out from one chabura to another chabura. Now, there is different shittas of Tanoim, exactly what is asr and what is mutter. The shit of Rabbi Yehuda is that one person cannot eat the Pesach in two separate places. Now that means even in one room. If we have two chaburas in my dining room, you're on one side, Mom on the other side, I can't eat my Korban Pesach here, then take my Korban Pesach, go to your chabura and continue eating it. Or eat from your Korban Pesach.
You're saying it's isser to eat it at all, not that I'm not yotzi with yours.
Yeah.
It's the chabur, not the from Pesach, from that chabur.
Yeah.
Does that apply to the Korban?
You said you can't take the from Pesach from one and eat it by somebody else.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same from Pesach from that chabur.
I can't eat my Pesach in two separate places. Yeah.
Does it apply to anything that supplements, like a fadiga?
No, just the Pesach.
So in other words, I could go somewhere else and I could eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
It's not good.
So Rav says that's the chiddush of the Mishnah. Lo yakru mechabura lechabura. I finished my Korban Pesach, and you say, "Hey, Rabbi why? We have geschmacka dessert. Come over for dessert." He says you're not allowed to. Why you're not allowed to? Because I'm afraid if I come to you for dessert, I may also eat the Korban Pesach in a separate place. So therefore, the Mishnah says, "Ein maftirin achra Pesach afikoimon." The word afikoimon is made up of two words. Afiku monaichu, which means take out your vessels. Mana in Aramaic is a utensil, a vessel. So let's say I have beautiful dessert. So you say, come join us. So I take my cup or I take my bowl and I bring it to you. That's called afikoimon. I take my vessel from my group to your group. You're not allowed to do that. You're not eating the Korban Pesach there. You already finished the Korban Pesach, but I'm afraid once you allow me to go to another group and eat anything, I may also eat from the Korban Pesach there. Maybe I'll have from my own or I'll have from yours, and that's forbidden. That's the chiddush. Ein maftirin achra Pesach afikoimon. Once you finish the Pesach, don't go to another group. Don't take your vessel, afiku mona. Don't take your vessel to another group and continue eating there anything, even if it's nuts, whatever you're eating, because we're afraid you may come to eat the Korban Pesach. Nothing. Yeah. Don't eat anything outside of the place of your meal, your own meal, on the night of the Seder, because I'm afraid you're going to take a little bit of the meat of the Korban Pesach, right? And you'll go to the other place and eat it too.
What's wrong with it fundamentally? Is there pasuk or something that says that we're not allowed?
Yeah, but bayis echad yachil, yeah. I could go visit them. For example, in the middle of Hallel, I can go to the other group and sing a nice song because they're singing much nicer than my group. My group fell asleep, but not to eat. So Rav holds, in my own place, I could eat things after the Pesach. In my own place, I could continue eating after the Korban Pesach. I just can't continue eating in your chabura, even if it's in the same room. That's what he says, lo yakru me chavura lechavura.
Is the word familiar from the word minion?
Yeah, minyan, yeah. Like I become part of the count.
Counting.
Ah?
It's counting. Is it from the word counting? Minion?
Yeah.
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 Someone couldn't join if he didn't.
Right. If he didn't subscribe, no.
He's out of luck.
You had to subscribe to the Korban Pesach. See the Rashbam. Amar Rav Shleakrim Mechavura Lechavura. Achar Shachla Pesach Bechavura. Layelchu Bechavura Acheres Lechel. After you eat your Korban Pesach with your group, don't go to another group to eat. Loy pas, not bread, matzah. V'loy shum dava, not anything else. Gzeira, where it's a decree. Dilma asil lemechel a Pesach b'shnei mekaymis. If you go there to eat, you may eat the Korban Pesach in two places. V'anan tanan stomach Rabbi Yehuda b'keitzat tzolem. And we have a Mishnah on Daf Peivav that follows the shit of Rabbi Yehuda. The Pesach nechel b'shtei chavuras ve'ena eichel a Pesach b'shnei mekaymis. The Pesach itself can be eaten in two groups. But the one who eats can't eat it in two places. This halacha of Rav, we explained this talking about during eating. After the meal, you can go to the other group, for example, to say halal. The only issue is you can't eat anything in two places. But what happens if you want to eat things in your own place after you eat the Korban Pesach? Rav says you're allowed to. My problem is to go to another chabura and eat the Korban Pesach there, or eat anything there because you may come to eat the Korban Pesach there. But if you want to stay in your place after you finish the Korban Pesach and continue the meal, no problem. This is the shita of Rav in the Mishnah. Ein maftir nachra Pesach avikayin means when you finish the Korban Pesach, don't take your vessels elsewhere to continue eating anything else.
Don't you have to see the hot over while you've got a post in front of you?
So you,
I'm saying the Rashbam learns you can go somewhere else, right? And sing, join them in their singing.
Yeah.
Presumably their halal is after yours. They're delayed in their suda.
Yeah.
But you're not being yotzi.
You'll drink the cup of wine by you.
I'm saying, are you being yotzi halal by them too?
Why not?
So you're yotzi halal, but you don't have to have your post.
No.
So you could say halal.
Yeah.
join your
Yeah.
suda.
Yeah.
Seems, I guess if they had a courtyard, you could do it very easily that way.
Yeah. It's even one room. You can have two chaburas in one room. So I go over to you for say halal. Yeah. Shmuel argues, and Shmuel says, no, that's not what the Mishnah means. The Mishnah means that after you eat the Korban Pesach, ein maftir nachra Pesach afikaiman. Afikaiman means something else. The word afikaiman is afiku mine, not afiku mone. Not take out the vessels, take out the delicacies. Take out mine, different types of food. Kagoin, for example, what the Mishnah means is after the Korban Pesach, do not eat dessert. Kagoin, for example, urdiloi li. For a man like me, I shouldn't eat urdiloi after the Korban Pesach. Mushrooms. Shmuel had a minhag. At the end of a meal, he would have mushrooms for dessert. After you eat the Korban Pesach, you want to eat dessert. You had meat, now you want to eat dessert before benching. Ein maftir nachra Pesach afikaiman. No saying goodbye to the meal, to the Pesach with afikaiman, with taking out minim, afikuma, no dessert. V'goyzelaya la'Abba. Abba, who was Rav. Shmuel had a colleague, very close colleague, close friend. Always debates him in halacha very often. We call him Rav. Rav and Shmuel. But his real name wasn't Rav, his real name was Abba. In Babylonia, they called him Rav as a gesture of respect, like the Rav. But his real name was Abba. Just like Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, in Eretz Yisrael, they called him Rabbeinu HaKadosh, or Rebbe. His name wasn't Rebbe, his name was Rabbi Yehuda. They called him our holy master. Rav was called Rav, even though his name was Abba. That's what the Rashbam tells us. I should just tell you, there is an opinion, a Rashi in Chulin, the other way, that his real name was Rav, and Shmuel called him Abba. One of the two. So when he says here, Goizlaya are, what does he say, birds? young pigeons. Shmuel would have mushrooms for dessert. Abba, Rav, would have young pigeons for dessert. So he says, I can't have after the Pesach mushrooms. The Goizalaya Lab and Rav can't have young pigeons. Why? Because any food that you eat will compromise the lingering flavor of the Korban Pesach in your mouth, and the Chachamim did not want you to obliterate even a little bit the flavor of the Pesach, and therefore there's no dessert. You can't eat it after the Korban Pesach. Do you see the argument between Rav and Shmuel? Very important argument. According to Rav, am I allowed to have dessert after the Korban Pesach? Yeah, as long as it's in my chabura. I can eat whatever I want. You want to eat pigeons, eat pigeons. You want to eat mushrooms. That's afikoyman just means don't take your kalim somewhere else. Don't eat somewhere else. But by yourself, I don't care what you eat. After the Pesach. Right. Shmuel holds, absolutely not. Even in your own place. You finish the Pesach, that's the last thing you eat. No dessert. Afikuman is dessert. Taking out the man, the different minim of food. He gives an example, whether it's mushrooms, whether it's young pigeons. Rabbi Chanina bar Shila, Rabbi Yochanan Amru. Rabbi Chanina, the son of Shila, and Rabbi Yochanan said, Kigoin Tmarim, dates, like dates, kloyos, scorched grain. They used to heat up grain and eat it as a snack. Egoizim, walnuts. In other words, they fundamentally agree with Shmuel, not with Rav, that you're not allowed to have any dessert after the Avigam. They're just giving an example. You want to eat dates. In other words, don't only think it's young pigeons, which is also meat. It's birds. Even nuts, even dates, it's a fruit. Scorched grain, you're not allowed to. Tanya Kavasedi Rabbi Yochanan, we have a brisa that supports Rabbi Yochanan. Ein maftirin achar ha-pesach, kegoin tmarim kloyes ve'egoizim. You don't complete the meal after eating the Korban Pesach with dessert like dates, like scorched grain, and like nuts. This is the Shitta of Shmuel, elaborated with the examples by Rabbi Yochanan. Shmuel gave two examples, whether it's mushrooms or young pigeons. Mushrooms for him, young pigeons like for Rav, and Rabbi Yochanan gave the example of the dates, the scorched grain, and the nuts. Says the Rashbam. We're in the middle of the other Rashbam because we learned the first opinion. Now the Rashbam continues. The line starts V'hainu, the third line from the wide lines in the Rashbam. V'hainu de poleg alei Shmuel v'Rabbi Yochanan v'Amri kol davar lechel aser lechel afilu b'chavorasi rishayna. You're not allowed to eat anything even in the first chabura. V'lekel lifrusha shelo yakru mechavura lechavura. The la'achar sha'achlik tzas min ha'pesach lo yochlu mena b'chavura acheres. You can't explain the Gemara that what Rav meant. After I eat the Korban Pesach by me, I can't continue eating it in another group. Maybe Rav allowed you to eat in another group. He just didn't allow you to what? To eat the Korban Pesach in another group. How do you know what the Gemara means? The Gemara just says, Lo yakru mechabura lechabura. Why? What's forcing the Rashbam to say you're not allowed to eat anything? So I'll tell you. Because that's what the Mishnah says clearly in the Mishnah before in Psachim. The waiter who's serving both groups has to close his mouth. If he has a piece of meat, he can't go eat by both. He has to close his mouth, not eat until he comes to his chabura. Utrei stami lama. What do you need two Mishnahs telling you the same halacha? Obviously, Rav is telling you that this Mishnah is giving us a new halacha. Not that you're not allowed to eat the Korban Pesach in the second chabura. You're not allowed to even eat anything in the second chabura. Ule Rav hachi mashmalei afikoyman afiku manaychu. Take out your vessels. Take your cutlery, take your vessels. Let's go there. We'll continue. They have gewaldike kampot. And then kosher Pesach dessert. Let's go. Take your chevra. They have good food over there for dessert. Let's go there after the Korban Pesach. Or they have good chicken, or they have good meat, or whatever they have, good Svardish rice, whatever it is, let's go eat there. You don't do that.
According to Shmuel, can you eat Korban Pesach in another chabura?
No, of course not.
Why? He just says because the taste of the
No,
Pesach should be in your
you
mouth.
can't eat Pesach in a second chabura, even according to...
Because the pasuk is
Yeah, that everyone
It
says.
seems like his whole reason is that you don't want to...
No, he's explaining the Mishnah. The Mishnah is not talking about eating other things. The Mishnah is talking somewhere else. The Mishnah is talking about eating something else here.
That everybody would agree.
Yeah. Kagoyna diloyi li v'goizalaya la'aba. He says, L'Rav, Abba is Rav. The Shmuel have a ragel lechel b'kinuach suda kmein upitrius. Shmuel used to eat mushrooms. What's kmein? Kmein and pitrius is, what does he say in the footnote? Everybody knows what kmein and pitrius are? What does he say in the footnote? What did he eat? There's two foods. What did Shmuel eat for dessert? Kmehin and Pitrius. You want to know who eats mushrooms for dessert?
Psychedelic mushrooms.
Very healthy.
No? Okay. Rav used to eat young pigeons. Afikoiman means take out. Mine are types of sweetness, delicacies, types of delicacies. No, from the kitchen. Yeah, bring out the birthday cake. Bring out the birthday cake. Bring out the delicious foods. Afikumon. Bring out the good food. Truffles and mushrooms. Okay, I know. Truffles and mushrooms. Thank you. Kmein and Pitrius, yeah. Truffles and mushrooms. Thank you. Huh? Huh? Yeah, because Shmuel says only one word, urdiloi. So why would Rashbam add two words? It's a type of mushroom. It's a family of mushrooms. Urdiloi. Urdiloi is one word. The Rashbam says kmein upitrius, meaning types of mushrooms. Because we're not sure exactly urdiloi, the type of mushrooms. It says kmein, truffles and mushrooms. Very good, thank you. V'asa Shmuel meimar loy miboyishem lo yakem mechavras lechuvar. For sure you're not allowed to go to another chabura to eat. That's not a chiddush. Of course Shmuel agrees with that. Ela afilu b'chabura soy asur lechel klum acher Pesach. Even in your own chabura. Shelo yevad mimenu le'oved mimenu ta'am Pesach. Not to lose the flavor. Ulefi shedinei le'achel b'soif al hasoiva. Because, why? Why do they care if you eat something and you lose the taste? What do the chachamim care? The answer is, the halacha was that you had to eat the carbon Pesach at the end of the meal when you were satiated. They weren't supposed to eat the carbon Pesach when you're starving. When you sit down at a meal and you're starving, the carbon Pesach should not be eaten then. Your stomach should be relaxed. Soiva doesn't mean you're satiated fully that you can't eat anymore. Then you're not allowed to eat the carbon Pesach. It's a chilegasa. Soiva just means that you don't have hunger pangs. Your stomach is relaxed. And then you eat the carbon Pesach. To know the difference, you have to fill your body. Not everybody knows that because today a lot of people just eat not to eat. They eat for stress. So then you won't know the difference because it has nothing to do with how satiated you are. The body just says eat, 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 eat. It's a different type of eating. But the carbon Pesach you had to eat when the hunger pangs were relaxed. Al hasoiva, v'chein kol karbonis. It's true about all the karbonas. Kediksiv, it says, Bamidbar Yudches, Lamashcha. You eat the karbonas Lamashcha. What's Lamashcha? Ligdula kederech shamalachem oichle. Lamashcha means like kings. The way a king eats. When you're starving, you're not eating like a king. You're eating like a glutton. I'm starving, I'm desperate. A carbon has to be eaten lamashcha, in a way of aristocracy, royalty. The king has enough food. There's luxury in the king's palace. So when the king eats, it's in a relaxed fashion. It's a luxurious type of food, rather than the pauper who's starving and he sees a morsel, a piece of bread and he jumps for it. So the Pesach has to be eaten al hasayva, satiated. In a chashuv way, in a prominent way, yeah. Huh?
I would think somebody like a king, speak around the side.
That's why the Chachamim said you're not allowed to eat anything after Karban Pesach. Why? If you would be allowed to eat something after the Karban Pesach, what might happen? You'll say, you know what? I'm starving. Let's do the lamb chops right now. And you'll eat the Karban Pesach, and then you'll eat the rest of the meal afterwards. But the Pesach has to be eaten after the meal when you're satiated. So how did they structure it? They said after the Pesach you can't eat a thing. So whatever you want to eat, you had to eat before, and that way the Pesach was eaten when you were satiated. So this was a general gzeira. Don't remove the flavor of the Pesach through any food, even a date. Now what's the big deal if you eat a date? A date is not going to satiate you, it's not a whole meal. But they just made a blanket gzeira not to remove the flavor of the Pesach from your mouth at all. Yeah, that's what the Rashbam is teaching us here. That's the reason that they made this gzeira. They wanted it should be eaten at the end of a meal, so therefore they prohibited eating anything afterwards. This is a din by all karbanas, by the way. All karbanas have to be eaten in a royal fashion. It's like you're invited to God's royal table. It's a different type of food. And when you eat it, you have to be like a king. You're in a state of luxury, a state of expansiveness. You're not a starving pauper. Yeah. Since the Karban Pesach was a fixed time, they made this gzeira. I should just add that the Yerushalmi in Masechta Pesachim says that the Karban Pesach is actually different than all the karbanas, and that's why they made the decree here. Why didn't they make it by all the karbanas? So the Yerushalmi adds one more point. By the Karban Pesach, there's a prohibition to break a bone. Etzem lo yisishberu boy. When you're starving, you may easily come to break a bone because you're starving, right? You smukcha de bene, you know, smukcha. You suck the marrow out of the bone. You can come to break the bone because you're so hungry, and you have a big family. You know, there's 60 people at the Seder, and you're getting this little tiny piece of Karban Pesach, and you're starving. You're going to take that bone and suck it out for everything it's worth, and it's going to break. So Mel, they said, let everybody relax. Eat a meal, you'll be satiated, you're not going to have to break bones. Okay? That's not just a brechen bene. So then, that's why by the Karban Pesach they made this gzeira. By other karbanas they didn't mind. So we have the shit of Rav, we have the shit of Shmuel, and Rabbi Yochanan, and the Braisa supports Rabbi Yochanan. No. Yeah. So Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan, are they arguing? It seems like, as the Rashbam says, just different examples, right? Just different examples. Abba, take the Rashbam, Abba, Kach Shmoy Shal Rav, Ela Bekovet, Konan Noisei Rav Bebavel. In Babylonia, they called him Rav. His real name was Abba. Hachi, they call him, but Kamosha Kohen Rabbi Yehuda Anasi Beretz Yisrael Rabbeinu. V'chein Muchach B'Shchitas Chulin Damrinan Man Reish Sidre Bebavel, Abba Aricha, the long Abba. Uberav Mairi Shayirav Aruch Bedoirei. Rav was long, great in his generation. Kedamrinan b'Mesachas Nida. For Rabbi Yochanan Kishmuel Svirelei Shayiragil Be'elu B'Kinuach Suda. Rabbi Yochanan holds like Shmuel is just he used to eat dates and not truffles. So that's why he gives the example of dates. I should just say, the Ran has a different understanding of the Gemara. The Ran holds that Rabbi Yochanan is arguing with Shmuel. There are three opinions. According to Shmuel, the only thing you're not allowed to eat after the Karban Pesach is serious food that's going to change the taste. That's why he says you're not allowed to eat young pigeons, and the Ran says ardiloy are not mushrooms. Ardiloy are different types of birds. That's the only thing you're not allowed to eat. But what about dates or nuts? Shmuel would say it's fine because it's not so powerful to compromise the taste of the Karban Pesach. And Rabbi Yochanan is much more stringent, and he says that even dates, scorched grain, and nuts, you are not allowed to eat, even though it's a much weaker taste. So according to the Ran, there's actually an argument between Rav, Shmuel, and Rabbi Yochanan. According to Rashbam, Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan agree completely. The reason Rabbi Yochanan gives different foods is because he used to eat other foods for dessert. Just like Shmuel himself gave two examples, his dessert and Rav's dessert. So he gives also a third example. Rabbi Yochanan gives a third example of his own dessert. Zog the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Rabbi Yehuda said in the name of Shmuel a big chiddush. This is all explaining the Mishnah. What's ein maftir nachar Pesach afikoyman? Does it mean you can't eat elsewhere but you can eat in your own place? Does it mean you can't eat any dessert in your own place? Comes Shmuel and he gives a big chiddush. Ein maftirin achar matzah afikoyman. The Mishnah said achar Pesach, and I'm telling you achar matzah, which means even in today's days, when we don't eat a carbon Pesach, we don't have a Beis Hamikdash, and at the end of the meal we eat matzah. After that, you're not allowed to eat afikoyman. Now, the funny thing is, we call the matzah afikoyman, so you can get very confused. So you have to understand, they did not call afikoyman here is not the matzah. Afikoyman is don't eat after the matzah afikoyman. Even bisman hazeh, after you finished you eating your last matzah before benching, you want to eat some nuts, or scorched grain, which is not chametz, or walnuts, or dates, or pigeons, or mushrooms and truffles, or chocolate mousse, kosher lePesach cake, which they didn't know about. Lucky for them. Nothing after the matzah afikoyman. This is a chiddush of Shmuel. So he's taking the Mishnah and he's applying it. Now,
This is the orange. The chocolate is
this is the einish, yeah.
Then it's not no chaburus, then there's no my house, your house.
Oh, now let's understand what Shmuel is saying. What did the Rashbam teach us? Why are you not allowed to eat dessert after the Pesach? Why? No, that's Rav. Why did Shmuel say you're not allowed to eat? We don't want, the Chachamim didn't want the Tam HaPesach to be removed. The Rashbam explains us why they didn't want us to be removed. Because they want you should eat the Pesach at the end, when you're satiated. Once they're going to allow food after the Karban Pesach, you're going to start with the lamb chops and end up eating the Pesach when you're hungry, and the halach is it has to be eaten ala soiv. I understand. But l'chayre, this din is not shaykh to matzah. There's no din that the matzah has to be eaten ala soiva. There's a din of a carbon. A carbon has a din called lamashcha. Lamashcha means you have to eat it like a king, with a sense of expansiveness, of luxury, of richness. There's no din of matzah to eat it ala soiv. What's the name for matzah in Chumash? Lechem? Oini. It's the bread of poverty. There's no din that matzah you have to eat when you're completely satiated. We don't first eat a whole meal and then we eat matzah. Faket, we wash our hands. Everybody's starving because the karpa somehow didn't do the trick. And it happens to be that the guy at your Seder table doesn't stop with his explanations. Everybody's starving and you eat your matzah. There's no din of matzah that you have to eat it when it's satiated. So why would in the world would Shmuel be mechadesh, a din, that after my matzah I'm not allowed to have dessert? What do you care? Jew finished his matzah. Now he wants to do. What do you care? So it's going to take away this time matzah. You will makaya matzah. What's the vart of Shmuel? So here we have to understand one nekuda about how our Seder today works. We have our minhag when we finish our meal. You eat the soup, you eat the chicken, whatever you eat at the meal. What do we have? We have something called afikoyman. What do we call afikoyman? A piece of matzah that we eat right before benching. That's what we call afikoyman. How did this happen? Why are we eating a piece of matzah then? Didn't we eat matzah right after rachza? Moitzi matzah, koirich. We ate matzah twice already. Why are we eating matzah a third time? The answer is, the Rishonim give two perspectives for this. First, the Shita of Rashi and the Rashbam. Okay. Here the Rashi and Rashbam is as follows. And this is interesting, a lot of people don't realize this. The kazayis matzah that we eat at the end of the meal, that's where you're doing the mitzvah of matzah. Not the matzah that you eat in the beginning of the meal. When are you fulfilling the mitzvah of matzah? By what we call the afikoyman. Why? I'll tell you why. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash, how would they eat the matzah? How would they eat the matzah? They used to, they ate the matzah together with the Karban Pesach. It was a sandwich. Like Hillel explained to us earlier, Daf Kuf Tesvav, right? Keinas Hillel hayakoirich Pesach matzah omar. He held that's how you ate matzah. You were makayim the mitzvah of matzah together with the Pesach. It was a sandwich. like a pita, mamish a lafa. It looked like a lafa. You had a lafa, right, with lettuce, chrein, and lamb chops. It was a good sandwich, by the way. People don't realize. It was a delicious lafa. That's what you had. So they say, bisman hazeh, you finish the meal, and you eat matzah at the end of the meal, and this commemorates the matzah that you ate together with the Korban Pesach. You ate matzah in the beginning of the meal before you ate. That's not the matzah with which you yotze the mitzvah of achilas matzah. If you say especially mitzvah strichas kavana, rather you're going to be at yotze with the matzah here at the end of the meal. Oh, very good. We make the bracha al achilas matzah in the beginning. The answer is, Reb Chizda told us before in Daf Kuf Tesvav that even if you're eating morer for karpas, right? Even if you're eating morer for karpas, you eat again morer. So he says, don't fill up your stomach with something of morer, and then later you're going to make the bracha al achilas morer. It's pasnished. Make al achilas morer in the beginning, even though the mitzvah is going to be fulfilled later. So therefore, we do hamoitzi and achilas matzah on the first matzah, even though the mitzvah is fulfilled only at the end of the meal.
You have to keep it in mind, is my question.
Yeah.
What's the reason he does it by the mother?
Yeah.
What's the reason he holds?
He says a passage that the bracha should be made after you mamali kreisai, after you fill your stomach. So here too, to make the bracha lachilas matzah after you're already filled with matzah is inappropriate. To make the bracha lachilas matzah in the beginning and you eat the matzah at the end, and that's what you do the mitzvah. Yeah. That's the shit of Rashi the Rashbam. The Rosh argues, the Ran argues. They hold we fulfill the mitzvah with the matzah in the beginning of the meal. Why do we eat matzah at the end of the meal? That's to commemorate the Korban Pesach itself. It's not the matzah that they ate with the Pesach and we eat it after the meal. I ate meat and now I eat matzah, right, by my meal. No, it's a zecher for the Pesach. It's not the mitzvah of matzah. I don't have Pesach, so I do matzah in lieu of Pesach as a commemoration. A whole different idea. This is what the Poskim paskin in Tur and Shulchan Aruch. This is the opinion that's embraced, and therefore it's a different type of matzah. This matzah is in lieu of the Korban Pesach. Many of the Poskim therefore bring that for Afikoyman you should eat 2 kazesim of matzah. Lahalacha lechatchila you eat 2 kazesim. Why? Why 2? To be yotze both shittas. One is to be yotze the mitzvah of matzah, which was eaten with the Pesach, 1 kazayas, and the other one is for the Pesach itself. So that's why you try to eat 2 kazayas. You yotze with 1 kazayas. Okay? Because both shittas. One is for the Pesach, and one is for the matzah with the Pesach. This is the shitta of Rashi the Rashbam, the first shitta, and the Rosh and the Ran, the second shitta. So now let's get to the punchline here. Comes Shmuel and says, after I eat matzah, I'm not allowed to eat anything else. Why not? If you hold that the Afikoyman is coming for the Pesach itself, then I understand. Since after the Pesach you weren't allowed to eat anything, so they transferred it also to the matzah, that after the matzah you can't eat anything, because the matzah is coming in lieu of Pesach. But later Rashbam holds that the reason you're eating the Afikoyman is not for the Pesach, but for the matzah that used to be eaten with the Pesach, zecher for that matzah. It's just we don't have a Pesach, so we do it this way. So why would the Chachamim care if you eat after it? What's the big deal? It's hard to understand. Why would the Chachamim? Yeah.
How am I yotzim as far as Pesach? One piece of matzah is for Pesach and one is for regular. How am I yotzim?
If I eat 2 kazaysim, the 1 kazayis I'm eating for zecher of the Korban Pesach, and 1 kazayis I'm eating to Mekayim mitzvahs matzah. But this is a big chiddush of Shmuel, that even after the matzah, nothing else goes into your mouth. No afikoyman goes into your mouth. That's the vort. Let's see the Rashbam inside.
If you're Mekayim, but why can't can be ice first when you ate first? Why do you have to eat it at the end for? If it's matzah.
Let's see the Rashbam. Take a look in the Rashbam.
Why would the
I understand. Let's talk. Ein maftir nach matzah afikoyman. Shetzorich lechel b'matzah b'gemar sudase. Zecher lematzah hanachelis im apesach b'kricha. I want you to eat the matzah at the end of the meal. Why? Because when was the original matzah eaten? With the meal, after the meal. In other words, with the meal, together in a sandwich. So how should we do the matzah? We can't eat the matzah in a meal, with a meal. We don't have a carbon pesach to eat it with. What are we supposed to do? So do the best you can. Eat the meal and eat the matzah. V'zui matzah p'tzuah shon oichlem b'acharoina l'shoim choiva. This is our mitzvah. V'al karcheinu anu mevarchen al achilas matzah b'rishoina af b'shein l'shem choiva. Why do we make al achilas matzah in the beginning, even if it's not for fulfill an obligation? The answer is Kedamar Reb Chizdalel Gabe Marer the Lachashem Milei Kresim Imenu Ei Chayzim Mavarich Alov Hilchich Mavarich Atravayu Bereisha. Reb Chizda says you can eat Marer for karpas, fill your stomach, and then make a bracha. No, make the bracha in the beginning. Here too, you make a bracha al achilas matzah for both. For hadar achil matzah b'acharoina, and then you eat matzah, which means when you're saying al achilas matzah, the real mitzvah is by the afikoyman. That's why it's brought in poskim. You have to have in mind the matzah of the afikoyman. So why are you eating matzah in the beginning? Because you got to have a meal. What was a meal in ancient times? Bread. You understand? The matzah in the beginning is just bread. That's not the mitzvah according to the Rashbam. You're just eating bread. You wash, you start a meal, you eat a little matzah, right? And you have your meal. But the main matzah, you're being yotza only later. That's a gewaldige chiddush. Huh? Well, it's way over. It's way over. And you eat, of course, the morer also. You eat the morer also. Huh? You're pretty full, yeah? You're pretty full. And the Rashbam finishes and he says, "Va'acher oisa matzah ein niftarin mimena ba'achilas davar acher shloi lishkach taima." And after that matzah, don't eat anything else. Why? Not to lose the taste, even of the matzah, even though it's not for the carbon pesach, it's for the matzah still. Ube matzah bezman hazeh ma'iri de leka pesach b'hada. The ibizman de pesach ha behed yitnan ein maftin nachra pesach afikoyman v'hainu achar pesach matzah nachelasim. If he's talking about the time of the Beis Hamikdash, it says clearly in the Mishnah, you don't eat dessert after the Pesach. And that means Pesach and matzah. So what do you need Shmuel for? Shmuel says don't eat dessert after the matzah. The Mishnah said don't eat dessert after the Pesach. And Pesach comes with matzah. So that means you finish the Pesach and the matzah. You don't eat dessert. I don't need Shmuel to tell me don't eat after the matzah dessert if it's talking about the time of Pesach. That's already included in the Mishnah, written before Shmuel. Obviously Shmuel is saying a new word. He's talking about Bisman Hazeh when there's no Pesach. And he's being mechadish that after the matzah, you still should not have dessert. Okay.
Why does the Mashal disagree?
What?
Why does the Mashal disagree?
The Rosh?
I mean, they're a Rosh.
The Rosh says that you mekayim the mitzvah of matzah right away. You make a lachilas matzah, you mekayim the mitzvah of matzah.
As far as eating matzah and compost, so
Yeah.
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 No problem.
You eat the matzah separate, and then you eat the morah separate,
How it could be you're not close
Then you
to
have your
matzah.
sandwich.
You eat the matzah.
and then you have your sandwich, because according to Hillel, you have to eat the morah with the matzah.
And tomorrow with the matzah. So where does the Rosh have his Pesach on matzah? Where does he have his his cold Pesach with the matzah?
No, so what? Even if you had the carbon pesach with the matzah, right, but today we don't have a carbon pesach.
I'm saying, but he.
So you eat the matzah on its own. You can't eat the matzah with other things because it's going to be mevatel the tam of the matzah. You have to eat the matzah on its own. So he says the big first matzah is you mekayim the mitzvah, then you mekayim the mitzvah of maror, then you do koirech because Hillel used to do maror together with matzah. Then you eat your meal, and then at the end you eat a piece of matzah zeicha to the carbon pesach because at this point they used to bring out the carbon pesach. You don't have the carbon pesach, so eat a shtickle matzah. That's what the Rosh holds. That's generally the halacha that's accepted. Afikoyman is zeicha for the carbon pesach, and it's one kazayas. But the shit of the Rashbam is a whole different shit. Shit of the Rashbam is that no, this is the main matzah. Everything else is just a hachana to this. The main matzah is what you eat with the Korban Pesach. So maybe you eat matzah in the beginning, it's just as part of a meal. You're eating a meal. You're eating meat with matzah. Yeah. You do maror because you have a mitzvah of maror. Maror you don't have to do at the end of the meal.
We do like the Rosh.
Huh?
We do like, we only eat one kazayas before that.
It says lechatchila to try. Many poskim say lechatchila to try to eat 2 kazayas, if you could. La'alacha you need 1 kazayas. But to be yotze to both shittas, that's what many poskim hold. Many poskim hold that you try to do both kazayas. So you do the matzah in the beginning. You have a mitzvah. You have a mitzvah of maror.